I think technology is a double-edged sword in the workplace, right? So in the workplace, technology makes it easier to do your job in terms of communicating quickly. So tools like Slack, amazing for connecting one-to-one with your colleagues and your peers. At the same time, the amount of distraction that we have because of technology in the workplace is making it incredibly difficult to simply focus and get things done. And I think we see that particularly as we look intergenerationally, where we have folks who are maybe not digital natives and are trying to now adapt to these technology-heavy cultures. When you're told you're not really supposed to email anymore, you're supposed to use Yammer or you're supposed to use Slack, that can get really challenging. Same goes the other way when you're like, I'm used to texting and I'm used to Slacking, why would I do anything besides that? So I do think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, and I think the opportunity is for us to look at how do we deploy technology in the workplace that builds community. So again, I would say I think Slack is doing a great job at that, really thinking about community and being community-minded. Causecast, for example, our technology does the same kind of thing, building in social interaction and looking for ways to communicate and connect people rather than just say, hey, go to work and be transactional in your communication. The early career workforce, I think, is used to connecting in such a wide variety of digital ways, just from their personal life and from being in school. But once they get to the workplace, there is sometimes a ceiling. There is a lack of connectivity and sometimes even emotional intelligence or social intelligence to know how we connect with one another. Again, in a diverse way, thinking across boundaries, across barriers, across generations. You are not going to be working with necessarily everyone who's your same age, or your same interest, or your same group. And so I think technology can play a huge role in connecting our early career talent into more opportunities to grow their career, to think differently, to get exposure to diverse thought patterns and diverse ways of working, and to build those chops that you need if you're really going to excel in your career and also accelerate your career. So move up more quickly and move across, move laterally more quickly inside of the workplace. Because we certainly see a lot of attrition, right? We see particularly younger generations, the off-sighted millennial generation, simply opting out of the workplace and starting their own gig. And while I think that's incredibly powerful and important, if we don't figure out how to bring those folks back into the workplace and encourage them at least to try something but then come back, we're not going to have much of a workforce left. CSR and social impact is, I think, the great equalizer across generations and across career status or tenure. The one thing we all have in common is that we actually want to make the world a better place, even if it's unconscious. And actually operating out of our unconscious and our subconscious is where we spend most of our time, so we might as well get with it. And what we see in social impact programs and companies who are really thinking about it and really thoughtful about it is this ability to democratize involvement, right? So tools and technologies like what we build at Causecast enable anyone at any altitude of the company to get involved as a leader of an event or an activity, to forge relationships with nonprofits and causes that need it, and to activate all of their peers and all of their colleagues around that kind of work. And it really starts to transcend that gap that can sometimes be in place or be perceived between the different tiers. And one of the things I love, for example, in what we do, we've created a rewards module where for good service you can go in and do things like potentially earn the opportunity to have a career discussion with a senior leader. So it kind of ties those two things together, right? I have an interest in doing good, but I also now would really love to have a career discussion with somebody who maybe is on the other coast and I don't have a lot of access to because they're more senior than me. So a lot of opportunity there for us to use social impact to really tune up the populations we work with. The biggest positives of making CSR an integral part of the business plan is that CSR is business. I believe that business is purpose. I believe our work is why we're here. And when we treat those things as if they're separate, when we treat our commitment to the planet as if it is separate somehow from how we earn our wage, we continue to create the kinds of societies and problems that we've seen in our human history. I think if we put CSR at the heart of business strategy, and we look truly at the fact that there is not even a triple bottom line, there is simply a bottom line that is about doing good and living with purpose and working with purpose to create great outcomes together, we're going to literally be able to transform our communities, our individual selves, and our planet.